I still remember the exact moment my mother-in-law laughed at my miscarriage. It wasn't a cruel, obvious laugh. Clara was too sophisticated for that. No, it was a delicate little titter behind her champagne glass when I mentioned we might try again soon. "Oh, darling," she said, eyeing my body in that way she always did. "Perhaps it's for the best." I'm Peyton, and I've spent 8 years perfecting the art of smiling, while my mother-in-law cuts me into pieces with words sharp as crystal. "More coffee, dear?" Clara's voice pulls me back to the present, another suffocating Sunday brunch at her immaculate colonial house, the pre-Thanksgiving planning session, as she calls it. "No, thank you." I clutch my cup closer, knowing she'll pour anyway. She always does. "You look comfortable today," she says, filling my cup to the brim. Her perfect red lips twist slightly. Though I might have chosen something more flattering for brunch, that sweater is rather forgiving. Beside me, my husband Brendan shifts uncomfortably. "Mum, please." "What? I'm trying to help." Clara settles into her chair, smoothing her Chanel skirt. I just want Peyton to present her best self, especially since she's representing the family now in her little, what do you call it? Interior design business? "It's a full-service design firm," I correct her, keeping my voice steady. "We just landed the Morrison account." "Oh yes, the nouveau riche tech people," Clara waves her hand dismissively. "Though I suppose they're exactly your target market." Sydney, my sister-in-law, giggles from across the table. Her husband Kyson at least has the decency to look embarrassed. "Actually," Brendan interjects, "Peyton's firm is handling several historic preservation projects downtown. The Heritage Committee specifically requested her." Clara's smile tightens. "How lovely. Though speaking of preservation, darling, you really should see my dermatologist. Those worry lines are starting to show." I take a slow sip of coffee, scalding hot and bitter. 8 years of this. 8 years of watching Clara orchestrate these little moments of humiliation, always wrapped in concern, always delivered with a smile. "Now, about Thanksgiving," Clara continues, pulling out her leather-bound planner. "I was thinking we'd do the usual seating arrangement. Though, Peyton, dear, you'll be at the end this year. We need to accommodate the Petersons, their actual family, you understand." The words hit like a slap. I've been married to Brendan longer than Sydney's been with Kyson, but somehow I'm still the outsider. Actually, Mom," Brendan says, his voice firmer than usual, "Peyton and I might have other plans this year." The room goes silent. Clara's perfectly manicured fingers freeze over her planner. "Other plans?" Her voice rises slightly. "On Thanksgiving? Don't be ridiculous, Brendan. We always have Thanksgiving here. It's tradition." "We're considering options," I say quietly, meeting her gaze. Clara's eyes narrow. "Options? Like what? Serving grocery store pie and watching football? Really, Peyton, I thought you'd learned something about standards by now." "Mum, that's enough." Brendan stands up suddenly, his chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "We should go." The drive home is quiet until my phone buzzes. It's Fatima, my best friend, and the only person who knows what's really been happening. "We got what we needed," she says without preamble. "She's not just a mean mother-in-law, she's a criminal." My hands shake as I put the phone on speaker. "What did you find?" "The trust fund transfers, the annual withdrawals, the shell company, it's all there. Clara's been stealing from Brendan for years, and that's just the beginning." Brendan's knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. We exchange a look. 8 years of accumulated hurt, rage, and determination passing between us. "There's more," Fatima continues. "We found payments to someone named Zoe May, regular payments starting right after each Thanksgiving." "Who's Zoe May?" I ask, but Brendan's face has gone pale. "That's what we need to find out," Fatima says. "But whatever it is, it's big enough that Clara's been paying to keep it quiet." I think about all the Thanksgivings, all the subtle jabs and careful humiliations. I think about the miscarriage comment, the constant critiques, the way Clara has systematically tried to make me feel small. "What do you want to do?" Brendan asks quietly. I look at my husband, the golden boy who's finally seeing his mother's true colours, and feel something shift inside me. Years of swallowed words rise up like a tide. "I want to serve justice," I say, "and I want to serve it at Thanksgiving dinner." "I need you to see something," Brendan says, spreading papers across our kitchen island. It's late, and the documents cast long shadows under the pendant lights. "Remember when I mentioned requesting copies of my trust transfers?" I nod, scanning the pages. Numbers jump out at me, large ones. $400,000? That can't be right. It gets worse. He pulls out more statements, arranging them chronologically. See the pattern? Every year, right after Thanksgiving, there's a major withdrawal. Mum told me it was for tax purposes when she convinced me to sign over management rights. When was this? Right after college. I was 22, naive. She said it would protect the family's interests. His laugh is hollow. Protect her interests, more like it. I grab a notepad and start mapping dates. Look at this. The withdrawals increased after we got married. And after we announced the pregnancy, Brendan adds quietly. The room seems to tilt. I remember Clara's face when we told her about the baby. That flash of something behind her perfect smile. Not joy, not excitement, calculation. My phone buzzes. Fatima. "I've been digging," she says when I put her on speaker. "Those payments to Zoe May, they're being routed through 3 different accounts before reaching their destination." "Why so complicated?" I ask. "To hide the trail. Classic money laundering technique." Fatima's lawyer voice is in full effect. But here's the interesting part. The payments always spike around major family events, holidays, weddings, announcements. "Like she's paying for silence," Brendan mutters. I think back to all those perfect family gatherings, Clara presiding over her empire of secrets while beneath the surface. A memory surfaces. Last Christmas, overhearing Clara on the phone in her study. "It's handled," she'd said. "The money will be there after the holidays. Just stay away." "There's something else," Fatima continues. "I found Frederick Lucas." "Your family's accountant?" I look at Brendan. "Former accountant," Fatima corrects. "He left suddenly last year. No explanation." "He always seemed nervous around Mom," Brendan says, "especially during the holidays." I grab my car keys. "Where does Frederick live?" 30 minutes later, we're sitting in Frederick's modest living room. He keeps glancing at the windows, like he expects someone to appear. "I shouldn't be talking about this," he says, hands fidgeting. "There are confidentiality agreements." "That don't cover fraud," Fatima points out. Frederick's shoulders sag. "She said it was for family. A cousin in legal trouble needed regular payments to keep things quiet. I set up the transfers, no questions asked. That's how it works with families like the Harts." "But," I prompt, "but then I saw a name on some paperwork. Zoe May. Started doing my own research." He swallows hard. "When Clara found out, she suggested I find other employment. Strongly suggested." "Who is Zoe May?" Brendan asks. Frederick stands abruptly. "I've said too much. You should go." Back in the car, my phone lights up with an unknown number. A text message. "You don't know the half of it. Ask Clara about Zoe." I show Brendan. His face hardens. Mum's been stealing my money to pay off someone who could destroy her reputation. All while treating you like I'm not good enough for her precious family, I finish. Maybe it's time we show her what not good enough looks like. That night, I can't sleep. I keep thinking about Clara's perfectly curated world, the designer clothes, the charity galas, the way she weaponizes propriety. Every criticism of my weight, my career, my background, all while she's been orchestrating this elaborate fraud. Brendan rolls over, wrapping an arm around me. What are you thinking? I'm thinking about Thanksgiving, I say, about how she always insists on hosting, controlling every detail, about how the payments to Zoe spike right after. You want to confront her there, in front of everyone? I turn to face him. She's spent years humiliating me in front of an audience. Seems only fair to return the favour. It would destroy her reputation, Brendan says slowly. Everything she values more than basic human decency, more than her own son's trust fund, more than her daughter-in-law's dignity. I sit up. Yes, exactly that. My phone buzzes again, Fatima sending more documents. But there's another message from the unknown number. Thanksgiving. I'll be there. Time everyone met me. I show Brendan the message. His eyes widen. You don't think? Only one way to find out. I reach for my laptop. Let's find out who Zoe May really is. As I type the name into the search bar, I feel something shift inside me, like tectonic plates finally breaking free. Clara's perfect world is about to shatter, and I'm going to be holding the hammer. Found her, Fatima announces, sliding her laptop across my kitchen table. Zoe May, 27 years old, works as a nurse in Boston. I study the LinkedIn profile photo, a pretty young woman with familiar features that I can't quite place. What's her connection to Clara? That's where it gets interesting. Fatima pulls up more documents. I traced the payments back 8 years. They started right after Zoe graduated high school. Brendan leans in, frowning. Wait, show me that photo again. Something familiar? I ask. He nods slowly. She looks like Dad. The eyes, the chin. The pieces click into place. Your father's illegitimate daughter? It explains the payments, Fatima says. Regular deposits, always through shell companies, always after family gatherings. Classic hush money. My phone rings, Clara's number. I let it go to voicemail. She knows something's wrong, Brendan says. She called me 3 times yesterday. Good. I stand up, pacing. Let her worry. The doorbell rings, making us all jump. It's Frederick, looking even more nervous than before. I shouldn't be here, he says, stepping inside. But I couldn't. I had to. He pulls out a USB drive. Everything's here. Every transfer, every shell company. Clara made me set it all up. Why are you helping us now? I ask. Because she's getting sloppy, desperate. Last week she asked me to backdate some documents. He runs a hand through his thinning hair. I've got kids of my own. I can't risk getting caught up in this. Brendan inserts the drive into Fatima's laptop. Documents flood the screen. Years of financial manipulation laid bare. Look at these dates, Fatima points. The first payment to Zoe was made the day after she turned 18. But there are earlier payments too, through different channels, educational expenses, medical bills. All while I was growing up thinking we were the perfect family, Brendan says bitterly. My phone buzzes again, another text from the unknown number. I have proof too, letters, photos, everything. It's Zoe, I say, showing them the message. She's ready to talk. 2 hours later, we're sitting in a quiet coffee shop downtown. Zoe May looks exactly like her photo, but with an intensity her LinkedIn profile didn't capture. I never wanted money, she says, stirring her untouched latte. I just wanted acknowledgement. To meet my father. But Clara threatened you, I prompt. Worse, she acted like she was helping me. Zoe's laugh is bitter. Said it would hurt everyone if the truth came out, that this way I could have a good life without disrupting theirs. While she controlled everything, Brendan adds. Zoe nods. The payments started small, college tuition, then more, always with strings attached. Stay away during holidays, don't contact Deacon directly, don't tell anyone. But you kept evidence, Fatima says. Everything? Zoe pulls out an envelope. including letters from Deacon that Clara intercepted. He tried to reach out when I was younger. She blocked every attempt. I think about Clara's perfectly orchestrated family gatherings, her obsession with appearance, her constant criticism of anything that didn't fit her narrative, all while maintaining this massive deception. "Why come forward now?" I ask. "I saw you at that charity gala last month," Zoe says, looking at me. "The way Clara treated you. It was like watching my whole life play out again, someone else being pushed aside, made to feel unworthy. I couldn't stay quiet anymore." My phone lights up. Clara again, this time with a text. "Darling, you've been so distant. Is everything all right? We simply must discuss Thanksgiving arrangements." I show it to the others. Brendan's jaw tightens. She has no idea what's coming. "Actually," Zoe says, "I think she does. She called me yesterday, offering to double the payments. She's scared." "Good," I reply, typing a response to Clara. "She should be." Later that night, as Brendan and I are reviewing all the evidence, another text arrives from Clara. "I've noticed some concerning behaviour lately, Peyton. Remember, family loyalty is everything. Don't do anything you'll regret." I show Brendan, who reads it twice before looking at me. "You know what this means?" I nod. "She's figured out we're investigating, but she doesn't know how much we know. Or that we've met Zoe." I pick up my phone, typing one final message to Clara. "Looking forward to Thanksgiving, Mother. I'm sure it will be unforgettable." Her response comes seconds later. "Don't ruin everything, dear. Some things are better left unsaid." I smile, thinking of the documents spread across our table, of Zoe's evidence, of years of careful manipulation about to unravel. "Oh, Clara," I whisper, "I'm not ruining anything. I'm just making sure everyone gets what they deserve." Thanksgiving morning arrives with the scent of sage and tension. Clara's house is already bustling when we pull up, her annual performance of domestic perfection in full swing. "There you are," Clara trills from the doorway, immaculate in a cream cashmere sweater. "Brendan, darling," and "Peyton." Her smile tightens. That dress is certainly bold. "Thank you, Clara." I smooth my perfectly tailored black dress, the one she can't criticize without looking petty. "I brought the wine you requested." How thoughtful. She takes the bottles without looking at them, though I already have a carefully curated selection. "From that vineyard you love in Napa?" I interrupt sweetly. "The one that closed last year due to financial troubles?" Clara's perfectly lined eyes narrow slightly. Behind her, Deacon appears, looking uncomfortable as always. "Son," he nods to Brendan. "Peyton." He won't quite meet my eyes. "Beautiful day for family." "Isn't it just?" I smile, watching him shift nervously. Inside, Sydney and Kyson are arranging appetizers. Other relatives mill about. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all part of Clara's carefully constructed tableau. "Peyton," Sydney air kisses my cheek, "that dress is so interesting. Very brave of you." "Fine. Speaking of brave," Clara cuts in, "I noticed you brought an extra place setting, Peyton. Expecting someone?" "Oh, yes," I say casually. "Hope you don't mind. I invited my friend Fatima. She's alone for the holidays." Clara's smile freezes. How charitable. Though traditionally, Thanksgiving is for family. "Family is exactly what today is about," Brendan says quietly. The doorbell rings. Clara flinches slightly. "I'll get it," I offer, but Clara moves faster. "Nonsense, I'm the hostess." She practically sprints to the door, then relaxes visibly when she sees it's just Fatima. "Mrs. Hart," Fatima says professionally, "thank you for having me." "Of course, dear. Any friend of Peyton's is welcome." Clara's eyes dart between us. "Though I didn't realize you were a lawyer." "Did I mention that?" I ask innocently. Must have slipped my mind. The afternoon progresses like a chess game. Clara orchestrates her perfect holiday while watching us suspiciously. Deacon drinks more than usual. Sydney chatters nervously about nothing. Everything looks lovely, Fatima comments, examining the formal dining room setup. Though I notice an extra place setting. Clara's hand shakes slightly as she adjusts a crystal glass. A mistake by the catering staff. I'll have it removed. No need, I say. We might have another guest joining us. Another guest? Clara's voice rises slightly. I don't recall. The doorbell rings again. This time, Clara goes pale. I'll get it, Brendan says firmly. Clara grabs his arm. No, I mean, I should greet any guests myself. It's only proper. She hurries upstairs instead of toward the door. I follow quietly, hearing her urgent whispers from the study. I don't care how much more you want. You can't come here. Not today. I'll handle it. Just stay away. I text Brendan. She's upstairs calling Zoe. Moments later, Clara emerges, composed but slightly flushed. Just checking my makeup, darling. Shall we start seating everyone for dinner? The dining room is a masterpiece of upper-class pretension. Crystal sparkles, silver gleams, and Clara presides over it all, like a queen who knows her crown is slipping. Before we begin, Clara announces, raising her wine glass, I'd like to say how grateful I am to have our family together, our real family. Her eyes meet mine in clear warning. Actually, Mom, Brendan stands, I'd like to say something first. Brendan, darling, perhaps this isn't the time. It's exactly the time. His voice is quiet but firm. I think we need to discuss family, all of it. Clara's knuckles whiten around her glass. Brendan, please. The doorbell rings one final time. The sound echoes through the silent room like a death knell. I'll get it, I say, standing before Clara can move. Peyton, don't you dare! Clara starts to rise, but Fatima smoothly steps in her way, accidentally spilling her water glass. Oh my, let me help you with that, Fatima says, efficiently trapping Clara in conversation. I walk to the front door, my heels clicking on the hardwood. Behind me, I hear Clara's increasingly desperate attempts to maintain control. Really, everyone, let's begin dinner. Peyton, whoever it is, can wait. I open the door. Zoe stands there, looking exactly like her father in the fading autumn light. Hello, she says clearly, loud enough to carry. I believe I'm expected for dinner. From the dining room, I hear the distinct sound of Clara's crystal glass shattering on the floor. You forgot to invite your other daughter, Zoe calls out, walking past me into the house. Don't worry, I'm here now. The dining room freezes in a tableau of shock. Clara stands amid the shattered crystal, her perfect mask cracking. Deacon looks like he's seen a ghost. Sydney's mouth hangs open in a perfect O of surprise. What is the meaning of this? Clara's voice shakes. Who are you? You know exactly who I am, Zoe says calmly, walking to the table. We speak every year, right after Thanksgiving, when you send the money. Gasps ripple through the room. An aunt clutches her pearls. Kyson suddenly becomes very interested in his napkin. I don't know what you're talking about, Clara attempts a laugh. Clearly this person is confused. Stop lying, Mom, Brendan stands. We know everything. The transfers, the shell companies, the blackmail. Blackmail, Sydney squeaks. What's happening? Clara's eyes dart around the room like a cornered animal. This is ridiculous. Deacon, say something. But Deacon just stares at his plate, shoulders hunched. Perhaps, Fatima speaks up, sliding a folder from her briefcase. We should discuss the financial records first, or would you prefer to start with the DNA test? DNA test? Sydney looks between Zoe and her father. Oh my God. I can explain, Clara's voice rises. This is all a misunderstanding. This person is trying to extort money from our family. Isn't that right, Peyton? This is your doing, isn't it? Actually, I say quietly, You did this all by yourself, Clara. Every payment, every lie, every cruel word." "Cruel?" Clara laughs sharply. "I've only ever tried to help you fit in, though clearly I failed. Look at you now, bringing scandal to our door." "Like you brought scandal to mine," Zoe steps forward. "When you paid me to stay away from my own father, when you intercepted his letters." Deacon's head snaps up. "Letters! You said she never responded." "She lied," Brendan says, "about everything, including stealing from my trust fund to pay for her cover-up." The room erupts in whispers. Clara's perfect Thanksgiving dinner dissolves into chaos around her. "Enough!" Clara slams her hand on the table. "This is my house, my family. You can't just—" "Can't what?" I stand slowly. "Can't expose the truth? Can't stand up to you? Can't ruin your perfect image? You ungrateful little—" Clara turns on me, years of barely concealed contempt breaking through. "I knew you'd be trouble, with your common background and your weight issues and your desperate need for attention." "Mom," Sydney gasps. "Oh, let her finish," I say calmly. "Let everyone see who you really are, Clara." "Who I am?" Clara's voice rises hysterically. "I am the person who built this family, who protected our reputation, who made sure everything was perfect." "Perfect!" Zoe laughs bitterly. "Is that what you call paying your husband's daughter to disappear? Making your son sign over his trust fund, terrorizing your daughter-in-law?" "I mean, we all know why he married Peyton," Clara spits, gesturing wildly at me. "Look at her! She trapped him, and now she's trying to destroy everything I've built." The room goes deadly quiet. Brendan steps forward, his face dark with rage. "That's enough, Mother." "Brendan, darling, you can't possibly—" I said enough. His voice cuts through her protests. "You want to know why I married Peyton? Because she's everything you're not. Kind, genuine, strong." Clara sinks into her chair, her perfectly curated world crumbling around her. "The trust fund transfers," Brendan continues. "The shell companies, the blackmail, it's all documented. Fatima has everything ready for the authorities." "You wouldn't dare," Clara whispers. "Think of the scandal." "The scandal you created?" I ask softly. "The one you've been paying to hide all these years?" Sydney stands suddenly. "I can't. I need some air." She hurries from the room, Kyson following awkwardly. "You see what you've done?" Clara points at me, mascara starting to run. "You've torn this family apart." "No, Clara," I say, reaching for the folder Fatima holds. "You did that yourself. One payment, one lie, one cruel word at a time." The extended family starts to leave, murmuring excuses. Clara watches helplessly as her carefully constructed world dissolves. "Deacon," she pleads, "tell them they're wrong. Tell them." But Deacon finally looks at Zoe, really looks at her, and something breaks in his faith. "I'm sorry," he whispers. "I'm so sorry." Clara's face contorts with rage. "You'll regret this, all of you. You have no idea what I'm capable of." I stand, smoothing my brave black dress, and look down at the woman who tormented me for 8 years. "Actually, Clara, we know exactly what you're capable of, and now so does everyone else." "Let's be methodical about this," Brendan says, standing at the head of the table where his mother always presided. He opens a leather portfolio, Clara's own monogrammed gift to him last Christmas. "Should we start with the trust fund, Mother, or the blackmail?" Clara's perfectly lined lips tremble. "Brendan, please." "The trust fund, I think." He removes a stack of documents. 8 years ago, you convinced me to sign over management rights. For tax purposes, you said. Do you remember? "I was protecting your interests." "By stealing $400,000? Brendan's voice remains eerily calm. "Let's look at the transfers." Fatima stands, professional and precise. February 12th, 2016, $50,000 withdrawn. March 3rd, another $30,000, all funneled through shell companies registered to offshore accounts. Business investments, Clara protests weakly. For your future. Really, I interject, because we traced every dollar. Would you like to explain why my husband's money was paying off your husband's illegitimate daughter? Sydney, who had crept back in, gasps again. Dad, is it true? Deacon stares into his whiskey glass. I tried to do right by her, years ago, but Clara said I wanted nothing to do with any of you, Zoe finishes, while telling me my father wanted me to stay away. Quite the puppet master, weren't you, Clara? I was protecting this family. Clara stands, swaying slightly. You have no idea what it would have done to our reputation, our standing in the community. Your standing, Brendan corrects. It was always about your image. Frederick Lucas provided quite the interesting statement, Fatima continues, producing more documents, about how you forced him to create false paper trails, backdate documents. That snivelling little man, Clara snarls. He should be grateful I gave him a job. Grateful for making him complicit in fraud, I ask. He's cooperating with the investigation, by the way. Investigation? Sydney's voice shakes. What investigation? Wire fraud, Fatima explains clinically. Tax evasion, embezzlement. The FBI is particularly interested in the international transfers. Clara's face, already pale, goes ghostly. You wouldn't dare! I'm your mother! A mother who stole from me, Brendan says, who blackmailed my sister. Yes, Zoe is my sister, whether you like it or not. Who tortured my wife with 8 years of calculated cruelty. Torture? Clara laughs hysterically. I was trying to help her. Look at her. She needed guidance, refinement. She needed kindness, Zoe interrupts, like I did. But you don't know anything about kindness, do you, Clara? You ungrateful little... Clara lunges for the documents, but Fatima smoothly slides them away. Copies have already been submitted to the relevant authorities, she says, along with Zoe's evidence. My letters to Dad, Zoe explains, the ones Clara intercepted, the recordings of her threatening phone calls, 8 years of documented blackmail. I kept this family together, Clara shrieks. Everything I did was for this family. No, Deacon finally speaks, his voice heavy. Everything you did was for yourself, your reputation, your social standing, your perfect image. Et tu, Deacon? Clara's laugh is brittle. After I covered up your indiscretion, protected you from scandal. You didn't protect anyone, he says quietly. You just controlled everyone. Sydney stands abruptly. I can't. I need to process this. All these years, the perfect family. It was all a lie? Not all of it, Brendan says gently. Just the parts Mother orchestrated. The authorities will be in contact soon, Fatima announces, gathering her papers. I suggest you retain legal counsel, Mrs. Hart. Clara sinks back into her chair, her carefully constructed world lying in ruins around her. You'll regret this, she whispers. All of you. When the scandal hits, when your names are dragged through the mud. Better the truth than your lies, I say quietly. Truth? She spits the word. You want truth? The truth is you never belonged here. You're common, desperate, clinging to a world you don't understand. That's enough, Brendan's voice cracks like a whip. We're done here. The lawyers will contact you about the trust fund repayment. And Mother, don't call us, don't visit, don't send your flying monkeys to check on us. You're choosing her over your own mother? Clara's voice breaks. No, Brendan says, taking my hand. I'm choosing truth over lies, love over manipulation, freedom over fear. As we turn to leave, Zoe steps forward. One more thing, Clara. Those payments you've been making, they stop now. I'm done being your dirty secret. We walk out together, Brendan, Zoe, Fatima and me, leaving Clara alone in her perfect dining room, surrounded by the wreckage of her Thanksgiving feast and the shards of her shattered control. Outside, the autumn air feels clean and sharp, like the truth. Happy Thanksgiving, I say softly, And for the first time in 8 years, I really mean it. The aftermath explodes like a carefully placed bomb. Within hours, Clara's perfectly curated world crumbles into chaos. She's selling the house, Sydney tells me over coffee 3 days later. Her designer handbag sits untouched beside her, last season's model. Dad's gone to Europe, something about needing space to think. And Clara? Sydney stirs her latte absently. Locked herself in the master bedroom, won't speak to anyone except her lawyer. She looks up at me, eyes red-rimmed. Did you know? About Zoe, I mean, all this time? Not until recently, I admit. But once we started pulling threads, everything unravelled, she nods. God, I feel so stupid. All those years watching Mum tear you down, and I just laughed along. You were raised to follow her lead. That's no excuse. Sydney's voice cracks. I'm sorry, Peyton, for everything. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. Fatima? The FBI just interviewed Frederick Lucas, she says without preamble. He gave them everything, bank records, correspondence, even recorded conversations with Clara. How bad is it? Bad enough for federal charges. The international transfers were the final nail. I relay this to Sydney, whose face crumples. Prison? Our mother might go to prison. Your mother committed serious crimes, I say gently. Actions have consequences. Like they did for me, Zoe says, sliding into our booth. Sydney startles. She hasn't seen her half-sister since Thanksgiving. Sorry I'm late. Hospital shift ran long. An awkward silence falls. Sydney stares at her coffee. You look just like Dad, she finally whispers. So I've been told. Zoe's smile is sad. For years I thought he wanted nothing to do with me. Finding out Clara intercepted his letters. He should have tried harder, Sydney says suddenly fiercely. He should have stood up to her. We all should have. My phone buzzes again, Brendan this time. Clara's making threats, says she'll destroy our reputations if we don't drop everything. Classic Clara, I mutter, still trying to control the narrative. As if summoned by our conversation, the cafe door chimes. Clara walks in, designer sunglasses hiding her eyes, but her posture rigid with fury. Well, she says coldly, isn't this cosy? My daughters, bonding with the woman who destroyed our family. Mom, Sydney starts, but Clara cuts her off. Save it. I've just come from my lawyer. Do you have any idea what you've done? The scandal this will cause? The scandal you caused, Zoe corrects, through years of lies and manipulation. Lies? Clara laughs sharply. I gave you everything, money, opportunities, silence. You gave me shame, Zoe stands. Made me feel like I was something dirty to be hidden away, paid off like a problem. You were a problem, Clara's voice rises. Other customers turn to stare. You threatened everything I built. No, Clara, I say quietly. Your own actions threatened everything. We just exposed them. She rounds on me, finally ripping off her sunglasses. Her eyes are wild, mascara smudged. You orchestrated all of this, turned my son against me, corrupted my daughter, brought this illegitimate mistake into our lives. That's enough. Sydney's voice is firm. Zoe is our sister, and Peyton is family. More family than you've been lately. Clara reels back as if slapped. Family? You want to talk about family? I'll show you what happens when you betray family. By the time I'm done, none of you will have a reputation left to salvage. Actually, Fatima says, appearing beside our table with perfect timing, any attempts at retaliation will be added to the criminal charges. Would you like to discuss witness intimidation, Mrs. Hart? Clara's face contorts. She grabs her designer purse, last season's match to Sydney's, and backs away. This isn't over, she hisses. You'll regret this, all of you. You have no idea what I'm capable of. No, Clara, I stand facing her directly. You'll regret this. Every scheme, every lie, every cruel word. And you'll remember this moment forever, when your perfect world finally shattered. She stares at me, mouth working soundlessly, then turns and flees the cafe. Sydney lets out a shaky breath. That was karma, Zoe finishes. Pure, unfiltered karma. My phone buzzes one final time. Brendan sending an update. Dad's lawyer's called. He's filing for divorce. Says he's done hiding. I show the others. Sydney wipes her eyes, but she's smiling slightly. Maybe we can all stop hiding now. No more secrets, Zoe agrees. No more shame. I look at these women, the perfect daughter breaking free, the hidden daughter stepping into light, and feel something settle in my chest. Clara's reign of manipulation is over. No more shame, I echo. Just truth. Outside, Clara's Mercedes peels away from the curb. But for once, her departure doesn't leave me feeling small. Instead, I feel light, like I've finally shed the weight of her judgment, her cruelty, her perfect poisonous world. Sometimes karma doesn't whisper. Sometimes she screams. The doorbell rings as I'm sliding a pie into the oven. Not store-bought. I made it myself this time. Coming, I call out, wiping flour on my apron. Our new house still smells like fresh paint and possibility. Zoe stands on the porch, holding a bottle of wine. I brought that red you like, the affordable one that would make Clara faint. I laugh, hugging her. Perfect. Sydney's already here, attempting to learn how normal people make mashed potatoes. I heard that, Sydney calls from the kitchen, and I'll have you know, I only set off the smoke alarm once. The house fills with the sounds of real family, laughter, playful bickering, honest conversation. No crystal glasses, no formal place settings, no walking on eggshells. Fatima arrives next, legal briefcase conspicuously absent. The plea deal is done, she announces. Clara took it. We all pause. Sydney puts down her potato masher. How long? She asks quietly. 3 years, plus restitution. The international transfers couldn't be ignored. Fatima accepts a glass of wine. She reports to prison next week. Has anyone heard from Dad? Zoe asks. Still in Europe, Sydney sighs. But he's been calling more. Actually calling, not just sending impersonal gifts with Clara's signature. The doorbell rings again. This time it's Brendan, home early from work. He kisses my cheek, flour and all. Something smells amazing, he says, and nothing's on fire. We're already ahead of last year. That fire was artistic expression, Sydney protests. Also, possibly a cry for help because I'd never actually cooked before. You've come a long way, I say, from microwave disasters to only minor smoke incidents. We gather in the kitchen, passing dishes and stories back and forth. No one mentions Clara's empty seat. Some absences are healthier than forced presence. Oh, Sydney suddenly remembers something. The country club board asked about next month's charity gala. Apparently, they're short a chairperson since Clara's social empire crumbled, I suggest. They actually asked for you, Peyton, Sydney grins. Something about wanting fresh perspectives. I nearly dropped my wine glass. Me? The one Clara said would embarrass them? The one who runs a successful design firm and hasn't committed any federal crimes, Brendan corrects, squeezing my hand. The oven timer dings. As I pull out the perfectly golden pie, I remember all those Thanksgivings at Clara's where nothing I did was ever quite good enough. I got a card from her, Sydney says quietly. Clara, she wrote that she's sorry for any disappointment she caused. That's not an apology, Zoe points out. That's still manipulation. I know, Sydney nods. I sent it back, said I'd rather have an honest conversation than a fake apology. Speaking of honest conversations, Brendan clears his throat. I have something to share. He pulls out an envelope. Remember that trust fund Clara drained? We nod. The courts recovered most of it, but instead of keeping it, he hands the envelope to Zoe. I want to split it between my sisters, both of them. Zoe's hands shake as she opens it. Brendan, I can't. You can, he says firmly. It's not hush money. It's not a secret. It's just family. Sydney wipes her eyes. Real family. Finally. The doorbell rings one last time. We all freeze. Are we expecting anyone else? Brendan asks. I check my phone and smile. Actually, yes, I invited someone. I open the door to reveal Frederick Lucas, looking much healthier than the last time we saw him. I brought rolls, he says awkwardly. Store-bought. I don't cook. Join the club, Sydney calls out. We're all learning. As Frederick joins our mismatched gathering, I look around at these people who chose truth over perfection, healing over hiding. No designer labels, no social climbing, no performances. Should we say what we're grateful for? Zoe suggests. Real things this time. I'm grateful for second chances, Sydney says. And cooking lessons. I'm grateful for truth, Brendan adds, even when it hurts. I'm grateful for family, Zoe smiles, the kind you choose. I'm grateful for karma, Fatima raises her glass, and justice. I'm grateful for freedom, Frederick offers quietly, from secrets. They look at me expectantly. I think about Clara, about her perfect prison of appearances, about how breaking free felt like finally being able to breathe. I'm grateful for imperfection, I say, for messy, honest, beautiful imperfection. We raise our mismatched glasses, some crystal, some plastic, all real. Outside, the autumn wind scatters leaves across our new beginning. Turns out, karma doesn't just serve justice. Sometimes she serves pie too. And this time, everyone gets their fair slice.